I see a lot of people in life who are unhappy. They might pretend to be happy. They might act happy. They might act like they're listening to you, and they do a lot of nodding. The techniques that you hear and see on TV and in movies and books. Oh, if you do this technique, then other people will like you. Or if you do this technique, then you're going to communicate that you're listening. And if you listen, then people will like you. In reality, you don't have to do anything special for people to get that you're listening. Listening actually comes from having a silent mind and actually being judgment-free. I didn't have a silent mind until August of 2000, and I guess it would have been August of 2000. I was doing a seminar called Landmark Education, the Landmark Forum, and on the third day of that seminar, I had a split second where my mind was silent for the first time. Now, growing up, I had an incredibly busy mind. Some might have been able to label me as ADHD or whatever that is, but I'm not real big on labels. I grew up in a household, old school Greek grandmother. If you came over, she'd feed you. She had a sense of humor. But when it came to her family, everything was a criticism. If you got a 94 on a test, it's, what the heck's wrong with you? Why didn't you get a 100? When you're 9, you don't really realize that her intention is positive. You just know that that's pretty traumatic when a 94 is not good enough on a test. So fast forwarding, my brain would spin. I had all these judgments. I was very reactive. I would get overly emotional. And being overly emotional as a guy, a teenager, a male, not so good, really. Cost me a lot over the years, cost me relationships, cost me opportunities to play ball. I did play in college, cost me opportunities to play professionally. It wasn't very coachable, it wasn't very teachable. And here I am, about 25 years old, alone, basically. No friends, no family around me, no money, can't keep a job. And I'm wondering, everybody's been telling me my whole life I've got all this potential. And I'm wondering, why the heck can't I do anything then? Why can't I succeed at anything? Why am I alone? Why am I, have I failed at all of these different things? And, that, I got fired from a job. I was living in Tampa. And for the first time in my life, I was really looking to blame, because that's what I was taught by my grandma. You got to blame everyone else. If everybody would just listen to grandma, if the president would listen to grandma, the world would be a better place, right? Of course, I grew up and I became my grandmother. I had her habits. I had her demeanor. I had her wonderful, unedited criticisms of others. Everybody else is stupid and I know best. And you understand what I'm talking about. I think we call that ego. So I got fired from this job at 25, and I'm looking for somebody to blame. I can't blame my boss. I loved him. First time I ever loved my boss. Can't blame the other guys I worked with. They went out of their way to teach me for free. They weren't getting any money. The product was good that I was trying to sell. I was a salesman. The marketplace was good. The other guys were making money. The other employees were incredibly helpful. Went out of their way to help me. Were always nice to me. The owner was good. The place was good. And finally, after about 3 weeks, I had a thought pop into my mind. And the thought was this. Vincent, is it possible it might have been your fault that you got fired? And I remember thinking, it is. It might be. And that changed everything for me. And that's what started me reading. Now, fast forward a few years, because that was 96. And then I had this seminar. But I still had this busy mind, even though I was reading and I was improving and I was learning how to listen. I just spent 4 years learning how to listen. And I'm in this seminar, and the guy says, the facilitator says, I never listen. I never have listened. And I never will listen. And that's the truth. Now, I got a little bit upset inside, because my mind is spinning. I just spent 4 years reading and learning how to be a good listener. What are you talking about? And then just for a split second, my mind finally shut up. It was only a split second, but I was very present to the fact that my mind was silent. And then over the years, I said, I want that again. And over the years, and the studying, and the contemplation, and the thinking, and of course interacting with people, still living life. I didn't get to go on an island and just contemplate. Eventually the mind became silent. And as the mind became silent, I noticed people's reactions to me changed incredibly. People wanted to be around me. People wanted to hear what I had to say. People took my advice. Oh man, I've probably inspired well over 1,000 book reads, just individually interacting with people, wherever I lived, whatever I did, whether it was at CVS. I taught English abroad in a couple of different foreign countries. I sold different products, services, what else did I do? I ended up having my own company in Southern Cal. But it really was about teaching, not about selling, not about making money. How can I help you? How can I be of service? And when I did that, that's when I felt most satisfied and fulfilled. But in reality, in order to help others, I had to listen to them. Not listen to what came out of their mouth, but listen to their whole being. Notice their body language. Notice the movement of their brow. Notice their eye movements, the angle of their shoulders, neck. Did their head move a specific way? Kind of like a dog, like this. And it really opened up a whole new world for me. It allowed me to finally have a successful relationship with a woman. And, after 2.5 years, people would say, all right, Vincent, how long have you two been dating? Well, we've been dating 2.5 years. Well, you look like you just started dating. That kind of honeymoon phase in the first three plus weeks where you can't keep your hands off of each other. How the heck did you do that? 2.5 years. Very simple. We cleaned the space between us daily. And that's the segue for the next video. If you're interested, tune in. If you've listened this far, I thank you, because this is my first delve into trying to get on film and make something for other people through media. So if it's a mess, if you don't come back, I'll understand. But if you found just a tidbit worth your time, I'll welcome you back with open arms.